All right, you are all live, just so you are aware of that.
Okay. All right, guys. So with quorum, we're going to go ahead and call to order. I'll do the open public meetings law. We will do pledge of allegiance, a roll call, and then we will turn over to the line. So, New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies, at which time any business affecting their interests is discussed and acted. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Board of Education Policy 0162, the Board of Education of the Borough of Bound Brook has caused notice of this meeting to be posted in the board office at the Bound Brook High School and mailed or faxed to the Courier News, Bound Brook Borough Clerk, South Bound Brook Board of Education, and any person who has requested individual notice of data required. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Gorski, roll call.
Certainly. Mr. Bell.
Here.
Mr. Dawson.
Here.
Ms. Casino.
She's going to be just a few minutes late.
Mr. Carlton. Sorry. Mr. Zucko.
Here.
Ms. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Minhouse. Ms. Hart.
Here.
Mr. Bowman. And Mr. Januski.
Here.
You have a quorum present this evening.
Perfect, thank you, Mr. Gorski.
Yes, just as well.
At this time, we will turn the meeting over to Mrs. White Thornton, who is going to run us through.
He's gonna uncook it with me.
Awesome.
And that's not a word, so I
Hey,
don't.
No, I know.
Sure it is.
I have the same projector, I know exactly what you mean, you gotta uncook it.
Uncook it, yeah, you are. Oh, sorry, that's probably really bad. So, thank you for having me back. A lot of, I think, what we're gonna talk about tonight may be slightly redundant because we've already done the strategic plan, which is a large part of community engagement. However, in light of your strategic plan, I'm your guest for you and for Dr. Hardwick are copies of the final plan, absent the action plans that you can add, so that you always have a copy for the board table, and Dr. Hardwick will always have a copy for his office.
Is that the junk?
It's okay. Mulligan.
If it's already written all day, Dr. Freeman, I know who you're speaking to.
You need to go on that vacation.
I do this very sooner rather than later. It's just a good. So in any case, that's what I'm here to talk about. I've also brought 6, because I don't think you all needed them, copies of the superintendent evaluation handbook, so that if any of you need that refresher and want to look over it, again, you have that opportunity to do so. I don't think I would have forgotten. And had I thought about that today while I was in Trenton, I would have gotten 3 more, 79, but to be honest, I didn't think about that.
6 is more than enough, thank you.
But I thought that would be helpful to this refresher to look at the evaluation again. So just talking about the benefits of engaging the community, here's some of the myths. You know, we were elected to represent the community. Why do we need to hear from them? Well, we represent them. Believe me, there are board members that believe that, right? Because not all the opinions held out there in the community do you have access to. Because you all have different constituencies, people you talk to, but there are lots of people you probably never see or never talk to, just because your paths don't cross in the course of your life. So it's really important to hear from them so that all of the residents feel, the community members, that they've had an opportunity to be heard. And there are lots of different ways to hear from those community members and parents and stakeholders. There's another one that's really not any prevalent anymore, was when I was on the board. Oh, they're not really interested, they never come to board meetings, they only come when they want to complain. And so, you know, working alone will not help you to do better and to better be able to meet the kids' needs as effectively as you can. So again, we have more complex problems today than we had years ago. They're going to continually get increasingly complex. Just look at the impact, for example, of AI and the impact potential that that may have on not only all of our lives in various ways, beyond Alexis, whose sole purpose in life is to play Baby Shark and torture every parent in the world. But there are lots of great things about it, but there are also a lot of potential challenges to it. So I think, you know, hearing from parents, one of the things we're hearing in a lot of districts now is around, not allowing cell phones in the classroom. And our kids are very accustomed to having them. Parents feel more comfortable with kids having them, but there's also downsides to kids having them. So, the issues are not going to get more simpler, they're probably going to get more complex. So, here's what I sometimes hear. We've hired a public relations expert. I'm a board member. I don't need to be a PR expert. You don't. I don't expect you to be a curriculum expert. I don't expect you to be a PR expert, but I do expect that you understand the importance of engaging the public, which is different than being a PR expert, okay? We talk to the community when we need their support for referendum. That doesn't work well, ever. You want to hear from them all the time. You can't go out to them just when you're looking for more support financially from a person, because they're going to say, well, where were you a year ago when I had this question or that question, or my child needed something and you were nowhere to be found, but now you want my money, now I should say yes? They're not going to say yes. So you need to be doing the engagement on a consistent basis, on a year-round basis, okay? Another one that's very typical is that's the administration's job. It's not the board's job. And you're right, a lot of the communication does come from administration. But again, you live in the community, you represent their voice, and actually when you think about it, you represent the children's voice. In every school district, there's an organization that represents the voice of the teachers, represents the voice of the administrators. The only people that don't have a voice are the kids. You have to be their voice. So again, the purpose of community engagement is to ensure school improvement is done with the community, not to the community. And for years, we were very good about doing engagement to the community. We would put out flyers, we'd send home things with backpacks. Now we probably send it electronically. We used to do it in the old days, mimeographs, for God's sake, which if you've been around a while know what it is, but if you haven't, you don't know what it is. But that's not engagement. That's just putting out communication. Effective communication and engagement with the community requires two-way dialogue. So what does the research say? You know that the four functions of the board is that you are policy-making body, you do planning, you do assessment, but you're also responsible for two-way communication with the community. And so that's why it's important. National School Boards has done a lot of work. It's called the Key, and it's really around research from districts and boards all across the country. And they have found that one of the pillars for student success is community engagement, because you need the support of parents and community members to be effective and to succeed as a school district. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time with that, but they have actually said that in addition to the advocacy role, working with legislators, parental engaging parents, business and political engagement, public participation, is that engagement piece is right there at the top, and it's important. The Center for Public Education, which is another research group of national school boards, when it was way stronger, they said of the 8 characteristics of what makes an effective board, number 4, effective school boards have a collaborative relationship with staff and the community, with strong communications to inform, engage with both internal stakeholders, your staff, and external stakeholders, the community members as well as parents. Learning First Alliance, and they talk about that research that was done, and it really does, I do have this, I'm not going to read all this to you, but again, they have said one of the elements of success is family and community engagement. And I think you all know that, so that's not why I'm spending like a great deal of time talking about it. But again, recognizing that you can't do the job alone, and that when we engage families and involve them, students are more successful. The National PTA, this is their second pillar, their second one, actually is around effective communication. Again, recognizing how important it is for that to happen. Okay? So again, the standards they've set is welcoming all families into the school community, communicating effectively, two-way meaningful communication. Again, more than just putting out, here's the school schedule for next year, let us know what you think your child would like. it's not probably a good dialogue to have. You need to do more than that, okay? Supporting student success, and speaking up for every child, ensuring that you are providing equitable access to opportunities for all students, not just to some students, just the high flyers, not just special needs, not just kids in the middle, but to every child, regardless of where they fall on that learning continuum, that it's critically important, okay? And I think celebrating student success is part of that, supporting every student, making sure that when you celebrate kids, one of the nicest things, and you do that regularly at all your public board meetings. I was saying to Mike on the way in, I always feel bad when the parents start to come and talk to kids because you're going to celebrate them and they're listening to you. And what they want to do is celebrate their kids, right? Not listen to me. So I think that's important. Giving them the notion that they have a voice, and that's what we mean by sharing power. That doesn't mean they get to come in and tell the board how to do everything, or a teacher or an administrator, but that their voice is heard. It doesn't mean that the district's always going to agree with every parent, or every question, or every concern. Sometimes I hear from board members, well, we don't think, that we're responding to the public. Because parents sometimes don't get the answer that they want, they may come to the board table and say, oh, I didn't get an answer. You got an answer, but it wasn't the one you wanted. And that's different than no one responded to your issue. And you have to keep that in mind, okay? And again, making sure that you engage also with other external groups outside of the district and bringing them in terms of partnerships, whether it's civic organizations, whether it's fraternal organizations, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, if they still exist in your community, the Soccer Association, the Cross Association, all of those Park and Recs in your community, all of those organizations you can partner with as another way to engage parents and students as you move forward. And those partnerships sometimes are really important because they provide things that sometimes the districts can't provide, opportunities for kids, depending upon limited budgets and financial constraints. You can't always do everything that you might want to do. So truly, communication is the heart of those team relationships, and it really does build understanding and respect, and ultimately it builds trust with your community that you are listening, and that what is going on in the schools they are aware of and they have a voice in, and I think that's important. Okay? It also helps to build support for your district's vision. One of the unintended consequences of doing a strategic plan was just the opportunity for people to talk to each other that perhaps didn't know one another, hadn't ever met, to talk to a teacher, to talk to a student. There was nothing more powerful in your strategic plan than the voice of your students who were there. And that is a wonderful opportunity for parents who may not don't have a child at the high school level and don't know what the high school kids do or how confident they can be and how articulate they were. I thought that's extraordinarily important. You can't expect the press to do it. Most local press has disappeared off the face of the earth. We used to, in our district, not far from here, the Courier News was the newspaper of record, but there was also a local paper that I can't even think of the name of at this point in time, but they didn't publish till Thursday, and we used to meet on Tuesday. And that gave us 2 days to correct any misunderstandings or misimpressions that the reporter may have had. We had that time frame, that grace to be able to call the next day and say, we think you missed something, let us just clarify for you. And it was really very helpful in communicating complete stories. And I don't mean that they had to take our spin or somebody else's spin, but just a complete story. You don't have that luxury anymore. Anyone can live stream right from your meeting. And so if someone wants to just live stream a part of a clip, that's all that gets out there. And so, you can't depend upon the local press because they don't exist anymore. That paper is completely gone. And the Courier News is essentially about this thick anymore because the press can no longer compete with social media. So you can't depend on either the local media, or local press, and/or social media to do it for you, because oftentimes it's not necessarily accurate, it's not necessarily complete, and it may have bias embedded in it. Not all of them, but some of them do, and so you need to be aware of that, right? So again, making sure that you plan for communication moving forward, and just don't leave it at the strategic plan, that you think about moving forward, what are some other ways we can do it? I always recommend that every year, in April or May, depending upon when you want to do it, inviting everyone who participated in the strategic plan to come back in and talk about, here's what we accomplished over this past year on that strategic plan, here's what's still out there, and here's a couple of new things that have popped up that we think we may need to add moving forward, because this has changed, or this has changed, or there's different circumstances. And I think that that's a way to help keep that alive, and to invite people back so that they get to hear it themselves, and then they can comment and provide feedback once again. It doesn't have to be a long meeting, it's not like a lot of time, but it just provides that opportunity for them to do that so that you are keeping it alive. You don't want a strategic plan response. And a strategic plan response is a strategic plan on the table that nobody ever looks at again, and nobody does anything with. That's not its purpose, and it's not valuable. So you want to make sure that it's a living document, and that you look at it as you go through your decision making, as you go through your budget creation over the course of the next year, so that you will be making that kind of progress. Okay? So how do you do this? Well, model collaboration. I don't think I need to really say this to you, but how you sit at the board table and how you respond from the board table, all of that nonverbal is also action, is communication, right? So if you're looking at public comment and you're doing this, right? Or you're texting in the middle of a board meeting, all of those things send a message to your public, and it's not necessarily a good one. As a Board of Education, if you don't care enough to pay attention to an entire board meeting, then maybe you should get your ADHD medication. They're not that long, they're not that bad. You certainly, and I'm being facetious, but truly, when computers, board members first got computers several years ago, because I've been doing this a long time, I went into a Board of Education meeting, and they were big in those days, right? The laptops were pretty big. And I went into a board meeting, and I sat there, and I was waiting to talk to them, and you could not see one face of any of the board members, because the screens were up, and they were sitting behind their screens. And I thought, it didn't matter to me. They don't put them down for me, but for the public couldn't even, and it was before live streaming, nobody was live streaming at that point. And I only tell you that story because they didn't mean to be rude. They were really looking at their agenda and so forth and so on. But it was, what is the visual that someone that's sitting in the audience could see versus a Board of Education member? And I know they wanted to see it. I said, please put your screens up when the public's talking to you, because you don't have to take notes on that necessarily. The president will respond, but you have to be able to let people see. So keeping in mind that your body language and how you were sitting and how you were attending to the meeting, particularly in the area of public comment, does make a difference. I know that seems very, okay, well, that's pretty simple. You would be surprised at how many board members don't look engaged during that time. And I know you get tired, and I know you've worked all day, but however, it is something you need to think about as best you can, okay? So again, engagement is a district goal. You have it as a strategic planning goal. You have it as a district goal. So that's really important, okay? Again, inviting them to the table. I know you do surveys, I believe, with culture and climate in your district, right? And inviting parents to participate in that, and that's another way to gain feedback from them. So again, some districts, they'll do periodic meetings on topical issues and invite parents in if you're initiating a new programmatic kind of new math program, new English language program, or anything like that, ELA program. We used to do family math and family science with kids as a way to engage them with their parent. They'd come with a parent, with both parents, and they were a couple of evenings over a couple of months. But again, it was another way to get people into the schools and have them experience what their kids were experiencing, and that was very helpful as well. So any of those kinds of initiatives that you can put in place are really wonderful opportunities as well. Business engagement is important because, of course, we're always looking for alternate sources of revenue, and it doesn't have to be dollars and cents. It can be donations of various kinds of equipment, various kinds of things for kids of one kind or another. I would call it swag, whatever. But again, it's a way to invite them in and have them feel important. How do you acknowledge them? You can acknowledge them on your website for their donation. You can celebrate them at a board of education meeting for various kinds of donations. It's really wonderful. Parents will tend to support businesses in the community that support the schools. And so, going out and really trying to build that, that's typically a district function, be someone on staff, not a board of education member. You can't be going out and soliciting people. But, developing those partnerships, if you, in your travels and where you shop and where you eat and all of that, know of districts that businesses that might be interested in supporting the district, you can let your administration and your district know that so that they can then move forward to build those partnerships with folks, because it's important to have them. Also, in terms of providing mentorships or internships for students at the high school level is really important. Oftentimes, with your municipalities, if kids were interested in government, sometimes municipalities will provide opportunities to have a student go out with I think one of my kids did it with one of the social workers in the community. So again, it's another way to build relationships and give kids exposure to opportunities that they might not have through the school district. And it can help them to build perhaps an interest that they'll pursue later in life. So again, public participation at board meetings, it is required, but it's often not encouraged. Again, you just want to make them feel welcome. Sometimes you will only get the kind of public comment when there's outrage. It's really important as to how you engage them if they're upset about a particular issue. And making sure that you're being fair and consistent. If you have a time limit, you can't have the person who gets up and says, "You guys are the best folks we have ever met." And let them go
Talk
on.
as long as you want.
Go as long as you want. And the person that gets up and says, "Listen to horrific. What are you thinking?"
Sorry.
Right? You get 1 minute and 30 seconds of that. You have to be consistent over time. And sometimes that's really difficult, but you have to. And I know that sometimes it can be difficult to be sitting there. But again, making sure that you have that opportunity to hear from parents is important, no matter what their perspective is. Okay? Having a district communications plan, I know you have engaged a group of folks to do that. And I think that that's really wonderfully important because it does take time, and it's time that your administration really doesn't have to devote to it. Social media alone and managing that is my job, okay? And again, social media can be beneficial. It's a way to connect to people. One of the things that sometimes boards of education forget is that we need to connect with people where they are. And if they are on social media, then that's the place where we need to reach them. Sometimes you have to go out to where the people are, not expect them to come to you. So sometimes going out into the community, whether it's, communities, the faith communities to talk to folks, whether it's going to the senior citizen center, we used to do that all the time, especially when we had to pass the budget. I wore a flak jacket most years. But it was important to do because they're paying for taxes the same way that you and I would be paying taxes. And a lot of them, it helps them to understand that it maintains their property values to have a good school system. And we, sometimes we say, well, we don't want to do it because they're only going to vote no anyway. Well, that paints everybody in a monolithic way. That simply wasn't true. And so being respectful, going out and talking to them as a group and other groups that might be interested in what's going on in the school district, whether it's the Eagles, the Elks, the American Future, whatever communities you have, fraternal organizations and groups, it's a wonderful opportunity to reach out to them. Again, establishing those partnerships. One of the things we do that's wonderful is celebrating all the kids in the staff that we do, because parents will remember that. They won't remember, the kid won't remember it in 20 years, perhaps, but the parents will remember it. They really will, because they'd love to see their kids succeed. Okay? So again, a good communication plan seeks to foster student achievement through establishment of a positive climate, involves parents, community members, those partnerships, businesses. It builds community knowledge. What you do here is a wonderful thing. This is like a hidden gem that's been sitting over here in Boundbrook for a it really has. And you do wonderful things, but you need to get that message out there to the wider community. Because oftentimes it's public perception that drives what goes on. And you need to change that perception. Changing perception is challenging, but you have to try. And it also builds trust. That we can trust that what you say about this. And that's an important piece. Okay? It takes years to build, seconds to break. Okay? And forever to repair. So being transparent, which you all are and have been, and continuing that process is critically important. Again, when you think about all of the various kinds of ways, I'm not going to read all of these to you, but they're all ways to move the district forward. And so that's really helpful. Again, whatever social media sites you find these people on, I don't know what activities are. So
I don't think Google Plus exists anymore.
probably,
It does.
I have no idea.
But they got X instead of Twitter, so I mean, yeah.
We got it half right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known how to go on Google Plus.
Yeah. Even
I know how to go on X, right? Some of this I know how to do. I don't know how to do anything else in this, but I know it's out there somewhere in the ozone. Again, I don't spend a lot of time doing this. LinkedIn is about my speed.
Yeah.
Because I understand my generation with Facebook. Right?
Way to go.
It's not the boomers ruined Facebook. I was never on Facebook.
Exactly.
But I learned it. But nonetheless, that all being said, reviewing your policies around communications and public engagement is important. If you haven't done it, you may want to look at that. And again, one of the things that I think is important to look at is your parent visitor policy and visitors to the school district. While we need to keep the schools safe and the students secure, we also want people to feel welcome. And one of the things that struck me at one point in time when I was a young parent 100 years ago, I went into the schools and I went to the front office, and in those days, you didn't have to pose and do all of that. It was before Columbine and all those terrible things. And I stood at the front desk at the elementary school, and not one of the 5 people in that office looked up. They didn't. They were on the phone, they were on their computers, they were in the office, and they didn't look up. The front office of every school is the first connection that parents have very often with schools, and so making sure that those staff understand and appreciate the role they have in engaging with parents and making them feel welcome, especially now that you have to put your driver's license in a slot, sign away your first child, tell them your blood type. And I'm all for it, don't misunderstand. But you go through these hoops, right? When, and some schools say, okay, just leave your child's parents right there. I understand that, or they look lost and found or whatever that's outside materials to get helicopter parents from finding. I understand all that too. However, if the parent does want to or needs to be in the front office, making sure that that staff knows the role that they play in welcoming students, because all of that is a way of engaging the community. And I think schools have gotten a lot more sophisticated about that, and I'm sure your front office people do a great job. But sometimes they're just really busy and they're stressed and they're absolutely, they're trying to respond to a million different things. So identifying one person is the person who needs to be the front and center no matter what to respond to a parent. That we all have different tasks to do, but I think that that's really very important. Okay. Doing your annual self-evaluation, you may wonder how our time has been, but I think it's important for you always to reflect upon how you have done in supporting your district and your district goals, how you have done in terms of engaging with your community, and reflecting on that as well. That doesn't have to be done until after the superintendent's evaluation is completed. Don't you like that? And again, it helps to set the table for development of board goals. And you may want to have some kind of communications board goal moving forward. Perhaps that aligns to the work that's being done in the district to support it, without overstepping your appropriate role as a board. Okay. So it's really about telling your story and getting your story out there, and you have a great story to tell. You have wonderful athletics and curricular activities. You have a long history, and making sure that you get those that good news out is really important. I hope that you understand, and I think that you really do know that community is important. And I think doing that strategic plan was a giant first step, and I've heard that from multiple parents that, wow, this is the first time we've really ever had an opportunity to do this. And I think they were really appreciative of that. And I think that speaks volumes. Okay? So, close connections to your community, distinctions between the professional and lay communities are a little blurred. People feel comfortable. Communities' involvement in district functions, using the facilities when they can, and the fact that you're responsive, and that you have a shared responsibility for the success of your children. The parents have a role in that success, and you need them to be a part of it, right? And then frequent acknowledgement, of your appreciation for their involvement is important as well. Okay? So, it runs the gamut from informing, consulting, involving, and collaborating, and you want to get to that collaborative part. Okay? And I think you're well on your way. That's from the Illinois School Boards Association. Okay? So inform, involve, and get them to invest in what you do in the community, and you should be all set. Yes. So again, I've included it. It's what, if you have a board goal on communication, the kind of steps you should take and achieve it. And a lot of this information came from all of this various organizations. So, questions?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Leave it to Roger. No, I think this was all great content. Like you mentioned, I think these are ideas that we all embrace and know are very important. And you've started to work your ways into various different activities that we're doing, including the strategic plan. But continuing to understand the ongoing importance and that we never really put the society's priority.
No, you never can. It's sort of an evergreen goal, it's that one that just reoccurs, right? You need to continually involve your community and be aware of what their goals and desires are for their kids, because there's nothing more important. And sometimes we think we know, but until we talk to them and hear from them, we may not know totally.
I really like hearing, invite those who were involved in the strategic action plan back in April, May, say, here's what's been accomplished. Because you don't want to do that once every 5 years, you want to do that.
Well, it's a way of reminding them that you were here, you helped us build this plan, we're working on it, here's what we've accomplished, here's still what's out there for us to be done, and is there anything perhaps that's changed that we need to adjust, right? Because sometimes circumstances, heaven forbid, there's strategic plans that were in process when COVID hit, and that all got put on hold because no one was in the building, and there was enough to try to get remote, instruction underway and make sure everybody was keeping as healthy and well as they could under the circumstances.
And so those things really got put on hold. So inviting those people back who were involved initially and saying, okay, we know we're 2 years behind, but nonetheless, let's see where we are, let's see what we need to do. And in some circumstances, there hadn't been a lot of emphasis around student and staff mental health and wellness, which became increasingly important as a result of the outcomes of COVID. So a lot of districts added that into their strategic plan because it became an emerging need that districts were seeing as a result of that circumstance. When Hurricane Sandy hit, there were lots of districts, again, who were in the middle of strategic plans and they lost their building or they lost one building and not another and they had to relocate kids. So sometimes there are circumstances and it's helpful to say to the public, you're right, we didn't get it all done, but let me tell you what we did get done. We relocated 300 kids, we took you off. That happened.
It wasn't taken
cannot
back.
anticipate all that, right? So you want to make sure that you're, again, it's another way of engaging them and inviting them to be heard. And once they get used to it, they'll want to do it every year because they'll want to hear. What did we accomplish this year? What's going on? What's your focus? What's changed? What's better? What's still needs to get better still? What's in progress but not quite there? So all of these things are wonderful to do.
I think this was good also because this is new and I think within the board, I know this will come up, the idea of getting the message out. Because that's something that I think that we've been working on for a long time. And that's to get, to repopulate the question, for all of us to see how will we get it. Because we are doing a phenomenal job. I think when I'm listening, where I've worked in a lot of other, these other districts that we have representation for, we're doing an incredible job. And I think that getting that milestone is how do we get that message out to the community in large. And so that's where I think that's a genre that I would like to dig into more when we have meetings and so on and so forth.
And I think that's probably the largest challenge, right? Is how do we get that message out effectively? And because it's not an ad, it's not an ad, it's a fact, right? Here are the things that are happening. Sometimes you also have to say, but there's what's not happening that we're working on, because you want to be fully transparent. You can't do it all in a given year, and somebody may say, well, what about, just because you're doing that, what about this, and this? And you have to be prepared for that, to say, you're right. Those are still things that we are grappling with and we're working on. There's a teacher shortage, so we don't have enough bilingual teachers, perhaps, or we don't have advanced physics teachers, or whatever the circumstance is. That's reality, and people know it, so you can't say, oh, it's perfect. That's not what this is about. It's about trying to okay, so you get a couple minutes off.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much for
Oh,
coming today.
always, and I apologize for calling you the wrong name.
You did.
It's not that it was me.
No, it definitely wasn't you.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I'm here.
You didn't, see, I outed myself. Very transparent communication. That's what happens when you communicate. Transparently. So,
Look at you, perfect time to play.
So I wish you all a peaceful, quiet,
Yes.
restful summer.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for everything. So I hope it's.
And bring your sunscreen, Gwen.
Oh, yeah, because. I feel
since the board started our meeting a little bit early this morning, we covered all of the areas of administrative stuff. So we can say, welcome, all of our administration staff that are here, as well as the community, and most importantly, our students that we were here to honor. So, without further ado, I will turn to Dr. Cooney for the quiz.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Welcome everybody to our June meeting, our last meeting of the school year. I want to thank all of our teachers for all their hard work, their dedication to our students in our community, and then all of our students for all their hard work. And early congratulations to all of our soon-to-be graduates, 8th grade, 12th grade, and preschool. All right? So at this time, we're going to get on to what we love to do best, honor our students of the month. I would like to call Dr. S up to recognize our students from Lamont and Lamont Annex.
Congratulations, Emmanuel Elas Flores, who's currently in pre-K 3. Teacher nominated him, Mrs. Sanchez. Emmanuel likes to explore all the centers. His favorite hobbies is to build different things such as airplanes, cars, and buildings. Emmanuel wants to be a police officer when he grows up. Congratulations, Emmanuel. And next up is Farouk Isa. He's currently in kindergarten in Mrs. DeLuca's class. His favorite subject is recess. He loves to play with his friends. His favorite hobbies are doing science experiments. When he grows up, he wants to be a teacher just like Mrs. DeLuca. Congratulations, Farouk.
Okay, next up, we're going to go out of order. We're going to call our high school principal, Mrs. Smith, up to deliver our students of the month.
Good evening. Our first recipient of the Crusader Citizen of the Month Award is Dana Pacheco Ortiz.
Okay, Dana has two siblings, Tiana. Her favorite subjects in school are biology and creative writing. Favorite hobbies include painting, writing, and pottery. And her plans are to attend college and graduate med school with a minor in psychology and become a pediatric surgeon.
Our next recipient, Marissa Hayes. Although Marissa is not here, she has three siblings, Travis, Tyler, and Michaela. Her favorite subjects in school are art, English, and history. She enjoys playing softball, going to the beach, and being around friends and family. She wants to go to school for nursing and potentially pursue travel in nursing as well. So. Our next recipient, Mary Angeles Mitchell Vargas. Mary Angeles has two siblings, Francesca and Michael. Her favorite subjects in school are science and art. She enjoys gardening, painting, and exploring new things. She's going to attend RBCC for 2 years before transferring, and she wants to become an educator. She wants to become a teacher. So. And our last recipient is not here as well, but I will announce him anyway. Louis Corio. Louis has one sibling, John Corio. His favorite subject in school is math, and he enjoys playing guitar, gaming, and talking with his friends, and he hopes to become an audio engineer in the future. So congratulations. Thank you.
Next up, Mr. Hayes from Lafayette School.
grade student of the month is Samantha Valverde. Thank you. Samantha is in Miss Ragged's class. She has one sister, Grace. Her favorite school subject is math. She loves riding her bike, and she wants to be a doctor or police officer. Congratulations, Samantha.
Big smiles, everybody. Look at you guys, you did great. Congratulations.
Our second grade student of the month is Theodore Soltis. We all come to you, okay?
Yes, we go there. We go there. Let's get the other round of applause.
Theodore's in Mr. Shawn's class. He has one little brother, Maverick. He enjoys writing, his favorite school subject is writing. His favorite hobby is playing video games and Legos, and he wants to be a gamer.
Next up, we have Mr. Egan of the Smalley School.
Okay, first up, for third grade, we have Milani Green. So Milani has two siblings. She loves phys ed and reading. And her career plans is she'd love to be a cheerleading coach. That's Milani Green. Next up, we have fourth grade, Miss Reagan Smith. She's nominated by her teacher, Miss Little. She loves ELA because she's good at reading and writing. And she would like to be a therapist because she wants to figure out people's problems and help them. All right, let's see. Fifth grade, nominated by Miss Rosso, her teacher, Carla Hernandez Garcia. But I was going to be up here all by myself the whole night. No.
So Carla has two brothers that are both older than her, right? Okay, just making sure. Her favorite subject is math. She likes to play sports, and she is currently thinking about what she wants to do when she grows up. She hasn't made up her mind yet.
And our sixth grade representative is Matthew Keenbeck. Matthew has an older brother and sister. His favorite subject is social studies. His favorite hobbies are playing tennis and golf. And when he grows up, he'd like to be a scientist, right? Or anything in the nutritional field. Very good. Congratulations. All right.
Okay, now that's it, sir.
Middle School is proud to recognize as its first recipient, Emily Lynch. Emily was nominated by her music teacher, Mr. Sakisitz. She has 2 younger siblings. Emily's favorite subject is math and enjoys playing soccer and basketball. When she grows up, she would like to be a doctor. Emily couldn't join us tonight because her grandfather's in town and they're doing a little early Father's Day celebration. So congratulations. Our next recipient is Diego Dionisio. Diego was nominated by his art teacher, Mrs. Taylor. His favorite subject is also math and enjoys playing soccer and baking. And when Diego grows up, would like to be a professional soccer player. Congratulations.
Okay, we're gonna have Mr. Smith come back up because one of our high school students has arrived.
There he is. Two siblings, Francesca and Michael. Favorite subjects are science and art. She enjoys gardening, painting, exploring new things, and she's our future teacher.
Watch your step.
Big smiles. Good job.
One last round of applause for all of our students of the month. And next up, we'll have Mr. Smith again to introduce our employee of the district employee of the month.
It is with great pleasure that I announce Ms. Joelle Smith as our District Teacher of the Month. Ms. Smith, Ms. Smith is a dedicated teacher who designs engaging lessons for her students that incorporate group activities and games. Her creative approach to teaching not only makes learning enjoyable, but also enhances student participation and understanding. She consistently collaborates with members of the department to analyze data and ensure common assessments across courses, fostering a cohesive learning environment. Ms. Smith's commitment to academic excellence is evident as she holds students accountable while also working with them at their individual levels, offering extra help whenever students need it. Her dedication ensures that every student has the opportunity to succeed. Ms. Smith is an important asset to our school outside of the classroom as well. As the head coach of the girls' volleyball team, she transformed an after-school club into a competitive varsity level team. Under her leadership, the team has not only improved their skills, but also developed a strong sense of camaraderie and sportsmanship. Her efforts have led to several victories and increased school spirit. Recently, Ms. Smith worked with the PTO to organize the junior-senior prom, creating a perfect night filled with fun for the students. She put countless hours into creating the centerpieces for all the tables, as well as organizing the events, seating arrangements, and chaperone duties as well. Her attention to detail and creativity ensured that the event was a memorable experience for everyone involved. Her dedication to the school's mission extends beyond her job description, demonstrating her unwavering commitment to making our school a better place for students and staff alike. Ms. Smith brings positive energy to our school with her constant smile and positive attitude. Her enthusiasm and passion for teaching are infectious, inspiring both students and colleagues. She's always willing to lend a helping hand, whether it's mentoring new teachers, providing support to colleagues, or cheering on students at various events. It is for these and many other reasons why Ms. Smith is our Staff Member of the Month. Ms. Smith's remarkable contributions, both in and out of the classroom, exemplify the qualities of an outstanding educator and a dedicated community member. For her hard work, compassion, and unwavering dedication make her truly deserving of this recognition.
Okay, at this time, we have a special recognition that will be done by our board president, Mrs. Eunice.
So at this time, I actually want to invite Mrs. Luna Kota, our physical education teacher from Washington, to come on down to practice.
Ms. Kozak, come on down.
So for those of you who don't know, Mrs. Kota will be retiring on June 30th after 26 years of dedicated service.
27.
As a passionate physical education teacher, Mrs. Kozak has taught almost every grade served as high school soccer coach. A few of her former students whom she coached and our teachers at Mossville. A delightful testament to her influence. Her love for fitness is evident in every lesson. Mrs. Kozak's creative initiatives, like the Shoe Time Hall of Fame, showcase her dedication to student success. She's also organized fun field days, reflecting her commitment to a well-rounded education. In the school year of 2020-2021, which, as some of you might remember, were trying times to be a teacher, she was selected as the governor's teacher of the year, recognizing her outstanding contributions to our student population. This is Kozak. On behalf of the entire Melbourne School District community, I want to thank you for your years of service, dedication, and passion. You have made a mark on our students, and your presence is immense. We wish you all the best in your retirement, and know that whatever comes next to you, you will continue to inspire and uplift those around you. So on behalf of the district, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Mr. President, you can come right over this way. We're going to present you with a little token of our appreciation.
Shoe time.
Congratulations. Stand around and make a nice picture.
Good job.
Second round is
You are actually our favorite teacher to watch over,
Ms. Kozak, you want to say a few words?
Should I? No, I'm just, I don't know, I'm just, when I'm 27 years, 27, not 26. And 2 times teacher of the, I won twice teacher of the year. So not once, but that's okay. You would
There's a
think,
reason that I need to let you speak.
you would think after 27 years, I should have no problem to speak in front of everybody, but that's not the case. But anyway, 27 years is a long time, but I really enjoyed working here, and I met so many nice people, students and teachers and principals. One made me stay a little bit longer. So, and that's what I'm going to take with me and carry with me for the rest of my life, I guess. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'd like to welcome our students here in Vermont to come down to the front, join us on stage and take a group photo.
dress for the scene. We are item number 3.
Well, do you know he always forgets when he repairs a Chromebook to plug the mouse cable back there?
Okay, so, since we're in June, there's not a lot of news, so graduation is the 18th, which is next Tuesday, so 6 more days. But, our final sports team, our Howard track and field team has a final week today at the League of Champions of Soccer, the Diamond Sports Circuit of football. And similarly, 2 weeks ago, we had a competition against the Mountain Police Department, where hopefully the competition will hopefully turn to men and women. I just want to say that I beat a lot of in other news, Bomber High School was selected as a winner in the New York Blood Center High School Blood Drive Championship, and they were honored at the Yankee Stadium last week. This year's yearbooks came in today. I can just see basically everything that these students have done this year and what they're heading out. It's really nice. And the senior award was, I believe, 2 weeks ago, and I don't have an exact number, but all I know is that there were a lot of scholarships given out. For related to our students, a lot of our students are going into different fields. So we have students going to college like Delaware Valley University, Villanova, Rutgers, RECC, Morgan, Bowen, the Armed Forces Corps to work with directly. So I wish good luck to all those students. And for the summer, we have the college and career readiness program for our students who are remaining for the next school year. And I just wanted to basically recognize the effort that our guidance departments have been putting out and certain opportunities that are available throughout the summer with various Rutgers and RCC programs, our New York Governor Study Scholars program that and we had someone great last year and this year.
Is there a report? Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Awesome. Now we're getting towards the end of the year, the interest in group special acts. We're continuing to be able to represent people who've done a really phenomenal job on attending this year's meetings, but really are attending meetings. So thank you very much for continuing to serve. At this point, we're up to our committee reports, so we start with education.
Good evening, everyone. The education committee met earlier this month. Primarily, we talked about how we provide services for students who are multilingual learners. So the district is required to submit a report. It's called the Language Instruction Educational Program 3-Year Plan, which describes how we identify multilingual students, how we assess their needs, how we determine what type of programming we best suit them, how we provide and recruit teachers, offer that programming, how we assess how it's working, and basically how do we best serve those students. And there's a really comprehensive and thorough report prepared by our district staff. And we have a pretty significant multilingual population in the district, it's like 700 students, and that meets the requirement for the Jersey code for us to need to offer specific types of programming to best serve our students. The threshold for state usage is 20 students, so at 700 we start to exceed that. So we are required to look at options like bilingual programs, dual language programs, high-intensity ESL programming. We want to talk about the programming that we have offered and what we have in mind for future years. There's been a lot of work to assess and look at how we bring out the best of the student population. And I think we all have to be very excited about one. So in the elementary grades, we're looking at offering a one-way dual language immersion program. Nancy the second, and Heinz NCPSL in the middle and high school levels. There's already been a significant amount of professional development plan to support our teachers as they better work with these students. So one-way immersion program means that one-way means that we have students, primarily speak Spanish, learning English in the program. And it's a change from a truly bilingual program where the goal is for students to acquire English as quickly as they possibly can. In the dual language program, our students, the 50-50 part means that they are learning 50% of the time in English, 50% of the time in Spanish. And this is an option that the district has investigated in response to feedback from parent stakeholders and staff. And the beautiful thing is it will allow students to go both languages, English and Spanish. And it is statistically among the most effective options for students who are multilingual learners. And we're excited about where the district is going and what these kids will be able to achieve in the years to come. So a lot of great work going on, and I think all of us on the education committee are excited about how our district can support these learners and take advantage of all the assets that come to our district.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Any comments or questions on education?
Yeah, I would like to just say thank you, Mr. Dawson, for that. This is a subject that is not past, it's present in the future. And I think like we look at all our language learners, it is such a vital and important aspect of what the counter affects, not just how learning occurs in the household, the next community, so I'm very excited the administration's collaborative approach to this, and working yourself in capacity and job. I think that we are just the beginning of the horizon and what we will see how our new language learners are going to really feel the impact of our exposure. So kudos to you and keep updated on that. And it's a passion that I really want to we have an excellent way to chase this and make this strong. So thank you very much.
Any other comments or questions?
Just being at the awards ceremony this past week, it was wonderful. But looking at that globally, when it had all the kids come up, and there was a large number of kids, and these kids who are verbal communication, and they have to be literate in both of those. So not only literate in English, but also in Spanish. It was just wonderful to see kids so proud, and should have been, and the parents were so proud, and the teachers too. This was a wonderful ceremony.
Any other comments or questions? For my part, let me say thank you to Mrs. Eisenman and Mrs. Curtin being the newest report. I think you guys are doing fantastic work. And I know obviously it's a whole district kind of growth, but hearing the approach that you guys are taking and the thought process is really great if you have a program. Who's going to be all of the most excited about. So not only are you doing this job, but it's a kind of passion. All right.
But I do want to say one thing, to get on our superintendent evaluation. I think we got enough from that today. I think that really needs to uphold these goals and then we can start evaluating. So we will let you know as soon as the tool is open on the SBA website. That's all I have.
Just to add to that, since we are only going to complete that process for June, expect the move from Mr. Grace to the staff in terms of the availability of the session. That brings us up to item 4.3, community resources.
Okay. First thing always on the agenda are new hires, and it's something again that's always looked at. I think the biggest update was that all three are accounted for. There were a few, everything that was requested was on as it could be. And those who couldn't get the transfer at this time were informed, and it was a very small number. Also reviewed were job descriptions for the chief executive officer, the supervisor of early childhood, tech support technicians, and instruction coaches, both life skills and in one program. That's all on the agenda too. The open enrollment closed this past Friday, and we're still using the Delta Dental and changing to the New Jersey. And that's what we're doing.
And Mrs. I, any questions or comments? All right, we are up to operations.
I promise. So I wanted to begin with acknowledgement of Mr. Ricky for an phenomenal job. As usual. My alternative is provide community advances and highlight develop a clear vision and define district-specific technology needs and investments to provide such for students and families. Develop for goals and develop progress milestones that we follow. And also follow a sharp current district infrastructure and outline sustainable purchasing guidelines and obsolescence. Also expressions and this is really important because as we go forward, technology is so vital on so many different levels. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Also, I had talked about district grade configurations. The meeting was presented a plan to address student congestion, rebalancing students and target grades. Lafayette grade 1 is projected to be open for 1 unit. Small school in the 3rd grade Lafayette as reducing its offer. Smaller schools based on existing temporary safety and small structure spaces construction providers or small construction. This is expected to take pressure on small, longer-term facilities and design. Finally, we have to talk about the community service program, consideration for all increase. We reform to recent financial estimates indicate that we need for use possible access cash, focus on units program use by the early 2024. Funding representatives, facilities director, administration recommends that payment of previously requested quality compensation for equals consortium vendors. The only item still being deliberated is the exact application of proposed law. We just need to get it, and can you just give us a little update on the walking freezer?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Dr. After speaking with district administration, Mr. Smith from high school, representatives from California District Facility Director Dr. and others, it was determined that best location for a walking freezer, which is approximately 10 foot, 20 foot, is actually in the high school, in the back of the school, in the auxiliary cafeteria. Mr. Smith is comfortable that a space of that size would not impede the usefulness of the room now or in the future. And according to representatives from Pontonian, the walking freezer will hold food at a lower temperature
than standard reach-in freezers and refrigerators that we have multiple existing at the school right now. The lower temperature allows for longer storage and maintains the quality of the food being stored. Currently, the government provides the district with commodities including produce, and the load is delivered to the high school parking lot, sorted, and then dispersed to all the schools. This has a negative shelf life of the produce, especially in warmer months as it's transporting food. The government is providing fruits and vegetables that are restricted to one delivery site per district. So it would be advantageous to deliver all of the fresh produce and government commodities to the area where it's going to be stored and frozen. It's being recommended to be a high school auxiliary cafeteria. Efficiency is also improved. The walking will allow us to eliminate some of the small refrigeration freezer units dispersed throughout the district, resulting in lower utility costs and more workspace, which is needed especially in the high school kitchen. The location of the high school will allow food service director more control of the inventory, location, and distribution of the products. Less product loss related to power outages is also anticipated. And also, there was an interest by New Jersey Department of Homeland Security a few years ago, considering the security of how food is being stored and being served to students for a terrorism standpoint. This will allow for a secure location, locking, fridge, freezer, and the service district. It has been requested by Pontoni for a few years now, and it just seems like we have an opportunity to turn now the appears to us as cash we will do so. We have two resolutions on the operations agenda tonight. The first one is the fridge itself, which is approximately $50,000. That's going to be purchased through a purchasing consortium, so we know we're getting the best price and it's exempt from bidding. Then there's the installation, that's approximately $20,000. We received two quotes, and one the lowest vendor for that, if the board desires to.
Thank you, Mr. Morrissey. Mr. President, that is the end of operation.
Thank you, Mr. Zocco and Mr. Kursi. And I'll just append one note, the PAC plan that was presented by Mr. Lee during my wishes to read is item 9.6 for approval laws and attention. With that, I'll ask if there are any other questions or comments about the motions. All right, hearing none. Back to
I'm just going to talk. At the Somerset County Ed Services Commission, their organization meeting was this past June 5th. So with that, they have the election of the board of directors, election of officers, and the executive committee. It's a notice of the upcoming meetings, policies and bylaws are reviewed and approved. Commission finances were reviewed and approved. Professional services reviewed and approved, and the commission programming is also reviewed and approved. Then we have the regular meeting. And the regular meeting is just some of the things that were going on in the school. And one was a great art presentation, and they invited us to come see so I wanted to see it. And the kids have done all of their art projects in fluorescent paint, and then it was in a really dark, the black light. It was phenomenal, and the kids were giving the tours. So they were just very proud of doing it. It was just a wonderful experience. They also had a presentation at the meeting for the Travel Work Day. We started the year with 108 students, and now have 170. And throughout the year, it fluctuates because students come in, but some leave quickly, some go back to district, some go to free schools. They also have some space issues, so they're freeing up space for guidance counselors to accommodate the student population. They're looking to hire more staff. And what they're doing on the second floor is they're converting some of the rooms into classrooms because they usually work with converting floor classrooms. transportation, they no longer go to buses, they go to boarding groups, and they're effectively serving or doing 350 groups. ESY has 5 students this year, and I found it interesting. They approved the hourly rate, $100 per hour, for the rental of their gymnasium, which is huge, very nice. And then the people who rent it also have to have their own insurance, et cetera, but it's kind of interesting to do that. And that, board.
Very well done. Thank you, Mrs. Lyon. Any comments or questions for Sunshine County Education Services Commission? Since our Southbound Road Records call is not here with us tonight, I don't think we will be having a report, but I will just acknowledge that Southbound Road, I think the fifth grade round of noise is having their graduation this Friday, and wishing all the best to the kids that are moving up and now our president next year. Any comments or questions regarding the duties before we move on to the next one? We are now at item 5.1, open to the public for agenda item 2. So at this time, there are members that are present here tonight, and would like to comment on the agenda item about the podium sign, which is the address affiliation. And
I have a question. When is it open to general?
that is a little bit on the agenda, we'll get there.
They're not. So, I think it's, some of it
If you wanted to speak on something that's on the agenda, yes, now would be the time to come back, and there's a little full kind of recording that you sign up. If you want to speak on an item that's not on the agenda, we have a section that just look for the.
So I don't have a.
You did not say it's not related to the agenda. All right, we're moving on to item 6.1, we resolve the Brown Board of Education, on recommendation of the superintendent, approves the minutes for the following meeting, regular executive session of the 18th, 2nd, 2020. Motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bell, second. Thank you, Mr. Kuzma. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, Mr. Bush, can you roll call, please? Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Yes. Ms. Casino?
Yes.
Mr. Zucco? Yes. Mr. Minhas?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
And Mr. Peter? Yes. Motion passes. We are on item 7.1, we resolve that the superintendent recommends for approval of resolutions as outlined in the district personnel resolution. This is 7.2 to 7.6. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Powell, second. Second. Thank you, Mr. Zucco. Any discussion? Feel free to.
The thing that I love, during the year, there's a lot of professional development for these reviews. And I like it, in the summer, there's a lot of professional development going on in this course. And it's so important, because that comes right back to the teachers, right back to the classes. So it's very happy to see all that.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we will roll call. Certainly, Mr. Bell.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. Yes. Ms. Casino.
Yes.
Mr. Zucco. Yes. Mr. Minhas.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
And Mr. Peter. Yes. Motion passes. We are up to item 8.1. Get there. We have resolved that the Brown Board of Education approves the resolution as outlined in district education resolutions. Looks like this is just 8.2 and 8.3. That motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bell, second. Thank you, Ms. Hyde. Any discussion?
I want to say thank you for the language line, because you know a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Zucco. Any other comment? Mr. Bush, roll call, please.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Casino?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. Item 9.1, be resolved that the Honorable Administration approves the resolutions as outlined for action resolutions. This is items 9.2 through 9.3. Motion.
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard, second. Thank you, Mr. Minhas. Any discussion?
Thank you for the,
All set. Any other comments, questions? All right, Mr. Commissioner, take the word, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mr. Julius. If I may just take, just a few seconds just to highlight some of the important items in place. 9.2 is a resolution to transfer up to $500 of this year's excess surplus in capital reserve. This was discussed at committee level, plan for school expansion in the future. We're currently have about $2.5 million in capital reserve. We're hopeful that we can double that going forward. Additionally, we talked about consent plan. Thank you, Mr. Lee, for the hard work and community development and establishment of that plan. And the other item on here that's the open discussion was the walk-in freezer. If any board members have any questions about that, certainly we'd be happy to meet or talk about that issue further. And there's also one other important item. There's a New Jersey School Board Insurance for a 3-year resolution to join the insurance consortium. And the district has benefited significantly with savings as opposed to going to carriers outside of the school purchasing consortium that group. But it is a 3-year commitment, and we have done previously at 6 times.
All right. Thank you for adding some additional context. Mr. Commissioner, any other questions or comments in light of the remarks? Please, Mr.
You had covered this at committee on the walking freezer, but my question is that covered by any type of insurance, the district insurance cover if it fails? And the food is that, what is the district process, that?
Thank you for that question. The district has a failure in one of the freezers and we lose a significant amount of food, which has happened previously. Depending on the deductible, we could submit an insurance claim for the loss of food. This new freezer will be purchased solely from funds within the cafeteria food service fund. So it's not district or necessarily taxpayer money. It's a combination of state reimbursements for lunch programs as well as money collected for lunch prices.
Any additional questions? Any other comments or questions? Roll call, Mr. Commissioner.
Yes, sir. Mr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. Yes. Mr. Zeno.
Yes.
Mr. Zucker. Yes. Mr. Minhas.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Mr. Julius.
Yes, motion passes. We are now up to item 10, which is other items on approval. Do you have any more? All right, then the business, I have not achieved them. Is there anything that you want to leave at this time? All right, then we are up to item 12.1, which is now open to the public. So does anyone, when you're ready, please come down to the podium, there's a podium and you sign in, name, address, affiliation, and just noting that you are timely, so we want to give everybody an opportunity to speak. As a podium,
I'll be real quick, everybody. Want to sign first?
You can talk and sign at the same time as long as you sign.
I can't keep going too long. My question is, I'm Vinnie Petty, at 204 West Maple, also a councilman in town. My question is, it was mentioned at the last night's council meeting, what's the impact of all the redevelopment going on, how's it going to affect the schools? How many more students would it take before we actually have to add additions or tear down a school and build a new one? I don't expect you to have these numbers right now, please. I'm gonna try to put you on the spot. But if you could get back to me about that information, that'd be great. Also, now I'm gonna put you on the spot. When's the last time a liaison from the council was here? Okay, thank you. And third, I'd like to thank the superintendent for taking care of issues that happened at Lamont Field, because my phone was leaning off. And he got back to all the people that called him. And thank you for that. That's it, and thank you for your service, all of you.
Thank you.
Just text me, please.
Well, I am, the way I'm affiliated by the school, I'm actually a Vanbrook alumni. I graduated back in 2018, so it's really good to be back. I see a lot of memories, familiar faces. But my question is, what is the school doing to, say, are they open to like like sources outside, like for grants or for resources? Because what I do is I work with New York Life Insurance Company, and I used to go to school here, and I still live here to this day, and I want to be able to give back to my community, and part of the job that I do allows me to do that. So New York Life, we have this foundation, we have this program called the Greece Sensitivity School Initiative, where I'm sure maybe you guys have heard of it somewhere, right? Where a child goes through a loss. And I'm sure some of you guys, and even I've known people that have gone through a loss personally, and it affects a student's academics. And it involves training to the faculty of the school, right? And so, and the training is free. So that's even open to us giving the schools grant money for just letting us come out there, on top of that, free resources. So faculty members are more prepared to handle on that sensitive issue for a child that goes through a loss, whether it's from the home, from their friends, and whatnot. So my question is that something that the Board of Education would be open to outside assistance?
Yes, we definitely are. Did you email me?
Yes,
Did you say that? I think we have a set up for after school is supposed to have an appointment for after school now, right?
I didn't get the memo.
Okay, my secretary will reach out to you, but I am instructing her to reach out to you to set up an appointment. Because it's late in the year, we have a lot of things going on, but it's something that would definitely interest.
Yeah.
Especially with you being on, so we want to get you in.
Yeah, my mother's told me great things about you.
and you're doing great things. You're doing great things. Your email was very impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Your job, what you do, who you work for, was very impressive, and you reaching back out to school is something that we want to encourage all of our graduates. So we'll be meeting to discuss everything, and we're definitely interested.
Thank you, Dr.
Right. And let me just echo what you bring that Dr. Stevens said. I think one of the things that we're passionate about is trying to make sure that we build a sense of community on our first hour of the accident talking about. So hope everybody do that, and hope everybody celebrate the hour long and come back. Include school as well.
Great to be back.
So thank you very much. All right. At this point, I believe we are, before I move on, this is video, anything online? There's nothing, no, so we are now at item 13.1, be resolved that the Honorable Board of Education enters executive session allowed by NJS 10.4/11 for the purposes of, just a minute, 1, reading. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. Seconded by Mr. Dawson. All in favor?
Aye.
We are currently.
You are unmuted.
All right, we are back in session for item 15.1, which is on the Concord Board of Education. Approved resolution is outlined in the approval of HIV cases in middle and elementary schools. This is item 15.2 and 15.3. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Flowers, second. Thank you, Mrs. Holland. Let's move to a roll call, Mr. Gorsuch. Oh, shoot, I missed 14 point. Yeah, good call. We're going back. It's your item 14 point. Be resolved that the Concord Board of Education approves resolutions about the approval of HIV cases in the high school. This is item 14 point.
Motion.
Second. Thank you, Mrs. Mr. Bush, roll call for 14 point.
Yes.
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 Mrs. Zucco. Yes. Mr. Minhas.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. Now we're on item 15.1, which is on the Concord Board of Education approved resolution as outlined in approval of HIV cases on the middle and elementary schools. This is 15.2, 15.3. Motion.
Motion.
Mrs. Powell, second. Mrs. Hyde. Roll call. Mr. Bell.
Yes.
Mr. Cross. Yes. Mrs. Zeno.
Yes.
Mr. Zucco. Yes. Mr. Minhas. Yes. Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
And Mr. Joyce. Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Item 16. Be it resolved that the Concord Board of Education.
Motion.
Mr. Bell. Second. We're ending on 16.
No, there's no second. No, just say second. There's no need to add it on.
Who seconds that? Mr. Zucco. All in favor?
Aye.